Well, hello and holy greetings, my much-loved brothers and sisters. It's Friday night on YouTube's greatest movie theatre at the Keys of the Kingdom Holy Bible YouTube channel. My name is Christopher Sparks. I'm the translator of the Keys of the Kingdom Holy Bible, the organic restoration of the original scriptures. And this edition is available only on my website, keysofthekingdombible.com, and I'll put the link as ever in the description box below. This is the only channel that is concerned with true Bible translation, and the only translation that does not reflect the worldly religion. And what does the prophet Hosea say? The prophet is considered a fool, the man of the Spirit mad. For immense is your distortion, and immense is your provocation. Now, we've been looking at the book of Job. In video number 171, we looked at Job chapter 38, verse 7, and showed that the sons of God, there is a literary device describing stars. And the way it is written, it is impossible for it to mean anything other than stars. And in video 172, we looked at who are the sons of God in chapters 1 and 2 who assemble together and present themselves before Yahweh. And we saw that sons of God always in the Bible is the God-fearing people, except that first exception in Job 38, where they are stars. So we have the people of God assembling together, the God-fearers, and presenting themselves before Yahweh as believing people do, and as Christians today do. Now, in this video, we're going to look at the Satan in chapters 1 and 2. So who is the Satan who comes in among the believers? It says the adversary, and in Hebrew that is ha-Satan, and this is Strong's Concordance reference H7854, Satan, and the ha bit means the, ha-Satan, the adversary, the enemy. And it says, chapter 1 verse 6, chapter 2 verse 1, the adversary came in among them. Can we identify him? Does he just appear in chapters 1 and 2 and then fizzle out of the story? Is that likely? I suggest not. And we can see from the concordances that if we look up this word Satan, it's used for God in 1 Chronicles 21 verse 1. The adversary arising against Israel is God himself, and he is called the Satan. And in Numbers 22, it is the angel of God who stands as an adversary, a Satan. And Jesus calls Peter the Satan. Get behind me, Satan. So the word in Greek is also Satan. And I showed in video number 150 that in Luke chapter 4, the Satan there tempting Jesus is his own internal flesh militating against the spirit. So in Job, can we further identify this Satan? Well, Job knows something of this man, Satan, the enemy. The enemy suggests it could be a known enemy of Job. The enemy comes in among the believers. Or could it mean the general enemy of the people of Israel? The enemy for God's people do indeed have an enemy. Well, I'm going to read from Job chapter 16 and show you that, yes, this Satan, this enemy, does indeed reappear. Job knows exactly who he is and describes what this Satan does against him. Now he is also called Zar, Hebrew word, another Hebrew word meaning enemy. So that links with chapters 1 and 2, enemy, enemy, but just two different words used, synonyms, as we have enemy, opponent, adversary, foe. So Hebrew has Zar and Satan, both mean enemy, adversary. And he is also called Avil, which means an ungodly man. So I'm going to read from chapter 16, verses 9 to 17. Now, this is on page 754 of your Keys of the Kingdom Holy Bible. And so I have to read the whole thing because we really do need these details to drive home to us that Job knew exactly who this man was and what he was doing. Chapter 16, verse 9. In his anger he hates and tears me. He gnashes at me with his teeth. My enemy narrows his eyes over me. They gape at me with their mouth. Scornfully they strike me on the cheek. So this is other thugs come along with this enemy. Together against me they gather themselves. El, that is God, delivered me to an ungodly man, and into the hands of the lawless turned me over. I was at ease, but he has shattered me in pieces, and he has taken me by my neck and shaken me to pieces, and set me up as his target. His archers surround me. He splits my kidneys in pieces and has no pity. He pours out my gall on the floor. He breaks me with wound on wound. He runs at me like a man of war. I have sewn sackcloth on my skin, and I have lain down my strength into dust. My face is reddened with weeping, and the shadow of death is over my eyelids. Although no violence is in my hands, and my prayer is right. O ground, do not cover my blood, and do not let my cry have any place. And that was through to verse 18. Now, all that physical attack on him. So we go back to chapter 2, verse 3, and we read, And the adversary, Satan, answered Yahweh, and he said, I'm going around in the land and walking up and down in it. And Yahweh said to the adversary, Have you considered my servant Job, that there is nobody like him in the land, a perfect and an upright man, one who fears Elohim and turns aside from evil? And still he holds fast his integrity, even though you incited me against him to destroy him without justification. And the adversary answered Yahweh, and he said, Skin for skin, yes, a man will give everything he has for his life. However, put out your hand now and touch his bone and flesh, and he will curse you to your face. And Yahweh said to the adversary, Very well, he is in your hands, but preserve his life. So the adversary went out from the presence of Yahweh, and he struck Job with sore boils from the sole of his foot to his crown. According to Gesenius's Hebrew lexicon, those sore boils were a form of leprosy, and you can easily infect somebody else with such contagious things, with items of clothing or pushing them against others so infected. But of all the other violent things, we read in chapter 16, the mockery of Job by the Zar, the Avil, the ungodly man, and his lawless friends, striking him on the cheek, throttling him, beating him, charging at him and cutting him. Job knows who he is. This word Zar is Strong's Concordance reference H6862, And the Avil, the ungodly man, in verse 11 of chapter 16, is Strong's Concordance reference H5769, and it occurs only there. Now, I did wonder for a moment if perhaps Avil was his name, but the way it is written in that verse 11 does not permit that. It is not his name. It is an adjective. Avil, he is an ungodly man. So this is similar to Paul getting beaten. He describes in 2 Corinthians 12 that he was beaten by a messenger of the enemy. So the same thing, the enemy, Ha-Satan. And so this enemy is introduced in Job chapters 1 and 2 as the adversary who came in among the sons of God. He goes into the assembly of the righteous, feigning himself as one of them. Now, maybe this is like 2 Corinthians 11:14-15, where Paul describes that some of the adversary transform themselves into messengers of light, metaschematizo. Did I have the page open? Yes, I did. 2 Corinthians 11:14 and 15. The adversary himself transforms into a messenger of light. Consequently, it is no big thing if his agents also are transformed into workers of righteousness, whose end will be in line with the measure of their works. And so this transforming, metaschematizo, there seems to be a similar thing perhaps in Job, where this Satan smuggles himself into the assembly of the righteous. And of course, the assembly of the sons of God, of course, if all these sons of God were evil folk, there would be no need to point out that an enemy comes in among them, because if they were all evil folk, they'd all be enemies. So certainly the sons of God are righteous people, set in contrast with Ha-Satan, the enemy who comes in among them. Right, now, when he is questioned, where have you come from? So this is as if, how have you come in among us? Who are you? And Ha-Satan can only mutter in reply as if he's a vagrant or a stranger to these parts. He says, from going around the land and walking up and down in it. He gives no straight answer. And to be a vagrant, a wanderer, is a curse, according to Hosea chapter 9. Verse 17, Hosea 9. They will be wanderers among the nations. My Elohim will cast them away because they did not listen to him, and they will be wanderers among the nations. So anyone wandering around is somebody under a curse. So this all occurs in the land of Uz, which we transliterate as U-Z. This Zar, Avil, Satan, goes into an assembly of the righteous in the land of Uz. Now, he has there seen Job, who is eminent among the assembly, the most eminent man there, and he has everything a useless vagrant might envy. The wanderer, the vagrant, despises Job and wants him brought down. Job has everything the vagrant hasn't got, this man under the curse of wandering, as was Cain. Now, why else could the Avil, the Satan, so violently hate Job? What motive could he have for so hating him as to treat him in the way Job describes him in chapter 16? He certainly does show that he violently hates him, but he is only allowed to strike him, but he is not allowed to kill him. So Yahweh says, he is in your hand, but preserve his life. So then Job tells us exactly what this Tsar, this Satan, this Avil, this vagrant wanderer, this man under a curse, does to him in the land of Uz. Now, where else can we find the land of Uz? So this is what we do. We look at key words and then we look them up. Of course, it's very easy when, I've got all this online and I can do the search button on my keyboard and find Uz. But I can tell you, it's in Lamentations chapter 4, verse 21, which says, "Daughter of Edom, you living in the land of Uz." Oh, so it was a territory of Edomites, that is, those descended from Esau, Jacob's evil brother. Yet Job himself was of Jacob. He was a son of Issachar, Genesis 46, verse 13. So I'm wondering if this Satan was an Edomite. Why else would he have so much hatred for Job? Well, possibly he's not an Edomite, but his violent level of hatred is not normal. And Genesis 27, verse 41, gives us some background. "And Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing his father blessed him with. And Esau said in his heart, the days of mourning for my father are at hand. Then I will kill my brother Jacob." So Esau hated Jacob and expressed that he wanted to kill him. Now that is the background to much biblical history and much European history. The Satan's hatred of Job is rabid, and there are such thugs. Now we might also consider Job's 4 advisors. There is Eliphaz, Zophar, Bildad, and Elihu. Now Zophar and Bildad are mentioned only in Job. Elihu, he's the younger of the advisors and the only one who is commended as having spoken well of God. And interesting that Elihu the approved is the grandfather of Elkanah. And you know who Elkanah was? The husband of Hannah, the parents of Samuel. But what of the other advisor, Eliphaz? Well, in Genesis 36, verse 4, the son of Esau and Adah is an Eliphaz. Oh, and Eliphaz, by his concubine Timnah, had a son called Teman, 1 Chronicles 1:36. And Eliphaz is known as Eliphaz the Temanite, or Temanite, Job chapter 2, verse 11. So, one of Job's 4 advisors is an Edomite, Eliphaz the Temanite. This increases to me the likelihood that the adversary, the Satan, was an Edomite. So Job was the son of Issachar, the son of Jacob. And Eliphaz is the son of Esau. So they were of the same generation. So, now I cannot say for definite that the Satan was an Edomite, but as a Scottish friend of mine says, when giving you an idea you might not agree with, I'm just putting it out there. So that's what I'm doing. I'm just putting it out there. I'm suggesting that the Satan's rabid level of violent hatred towards Job is irrational and possibly has its explanation in Genesis 27 verse 41. And Esau hated Jacob and wanted to kill him. Right, we'll leave it there. And I want to say very hearty thank you to the supporters of this channel on Patreon. And your generosity and kindness means the world to me. And I have laid down my life for translation truth. And so that we can restore, when we have translation truth, we can have teaching truth. And I have given up everything, all other forms of paid work, and I do. I give all my energy and put all my savings and income into this work. So thank you for your support, and thank you for those who make such wonderful comments in the comments section. Those also mean the world to me, and they are a testimony, an overwhelming testimony that these things bear witness with a great number of people. And I've noticed so far in Job that our opponents have been kept rather quiet. So blessed be the God and Father of our Lord Jesus Christ, who is the God and Father of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So good night, and God bless you all.